Hello everyone, welcome back in the second video of OSPF Routing Protocol Configuration series. I'm Dr. Anand Kumar Gupta and I'll walk you through in this video series how to configure OSPF Routing Protocol in Cisco Packet Tracer. So I have Cisco Packet Tracer. I will double click on the Cisco Packet Tracer shortcut icon. It will launch the Cisco Packet Tracer application. As we know, this is a simulation tool. I'm going to use three routers of 2621XM series. As you can see, now we have to connect the network interface card for wide area network. So what to do on that? You have to click on the router and you will land into physical tab. Click to zoom in. You can see the green icon representing the power is on for this router. You have to click here and observe the light is no more blinking. So router is off. From the modules list, I'm going to select WIC2T. This will provide you two WAN interface card. Drag it to slot 0 and turn on. We have to repeat the same steps on the other routers. So I'm quickly going to do that. And similarly on the other router as well. Now I'll be selecting 2960 switch and I will connect it to the router 1 and router 2. I'm going to use desktop PCs which will be connected to router 1 and router 2's via switches, and I'm going to use server for router 2 network. So this is how we are going to use the connections. I'm going to use serial DCE on router 0. I'll connect serial 0 interface with the router 1 serial 0 interface. I would also use serial 01 of router 0 connected with serial 0 by 0 of router 2. Now I'll be using copper straight through cable and will create the local area network. I have connected to fast Ethernet 0 by 0 of router 1 and connecting to gigabit Ethernet 0 by 1 and fast Ethernet 0 by 1 of switch to fast Ethernet 0 on PC1 and PC0. Similarly, I'll be connecting to the other networks quickly. It's not really mandatory to connect network cables in sequence, but just to have clarity, it is recommended to connect it in a sequence. Now I'm going to label the network. It would be 1.0.0.0/30 network. This one I'm going to consider 2.0.0.0/30 network. The router 1 will have a local area network of 192.168.0.0. Router 0 will have a network of 172.16.0.0/16, and serial 0 by 0 will have a network of 10.0.0.0/8. So this is our network. Now we have to quickly jump into the configuration. Let us assign the IPs on the PCs first. So I'm going to desktop. I'll use the IP 192.168.0 dot, let's say 10. And I'm going to configure 192.168.0.1 as a IP on first Ethernet 0 by 0, which will serve the gateway for this network. So I'm putting the gateway address. Similarly, on the other PC, this time I'm using .20. On the server, I'm going to configure the IPs 172.16.0.200 and 172.16.0.1 would be the default gateway. Similarly, for 10 network, I'm going to use 10.0.0.10, which would be the IP address of the computer, and 10.0.0.1 would be the gateway for this network. So I'm repeating the same step on the other PC. So we are done with the local area configuration. Let's start configuring the routers and provide the options, provide the routing information to these routers. We can also make some of the changes, like the ports are visible. We can, if you want to turn off that visibility, we have to check the box, always show port labels in logical workspace, and then the ports would not be visible. But for now, let it be. So I'll start with the configuration of router 1. I'll go to command prompt, the CLI, and I'm keeping it vertical so that we can see and verify the status as well in the logical diagram. Also, what are the commands taking effect? So the first command, since this is the very new router, we did not configure anything, and I want to bypass the initial configuration dialog box, I will type no. Couple of enters. I will type enable, will take us to the privilege configuration mode. Privilege mode actually. Now I'll type configure terminal, will take to global configuration mode. We can change the host name to R1. Then we can go to interface fast Ethernet 0 by 0. Pay attention, this interface we are configuring. So I'm going to type IP address 192.168.0.1 255.255.255.0 and no shutdown. The moment I hit the enter key, it will turn the signal on, meaning the port would be turned on and the signal from the switch to router would turn to green. And you can see that. Perfect. We'll go to the next interface. So exit. Then we'll type interface serial 0 by 0 IP address 1.0.0.1 and /30 represents 255.255.255.252 and no shutdown. Once it is done, we will mark it the end of the configuration by end, and we will save the configuration. We can type copy running config space startup config. Once you hit the enter key, it asks you to destination file name. What would be the configuration file name of this router? Default is startup-config. Let it be default, press enter, and the configuration is set. We will close this. Now we'll go to router 0 and we will follow the same process here as well. So this time I'll go to command line interface. I will type here no. enable to go to the privilege mode, configure terminal to go to global configuration mode. Then we will type the host name and R0 router 0 name to give the name. Then interface fast Ethernet 0 by 0. We will configure this interface. So we'll type IP address 172.16.0.1. Subnet mask is 255.0.0. It is a class B IP address. No shutdown. The port is on. We are just verifying this. Now exit. Then interface serial 0 by 0, which is this interface. So we will be typing the IP of this series. IP address 1.0.0.2 because 1 is already assigned, and the subnet mask, which is 255.255.255.252. Then we will type clock rate and we'll give the clock rate. After that, we'll type no shutdown, enter. You can see the port is on. Now exit. Then we'll go to interface serial 0 by 1, which is this command. So we're going to configure this interface. We will type IP address. I want to check what is the IP we have to assign. It will be of two series. So 2.0.0.1 subnet mask 255.255.252. Then clock rate 64,000. No shutdown. Once it is done, end of the configuration. And you can also save the configuration typing command write memory. Both are for the same purpose. Now we will configure the router 0 and let adjust the screen so that we can also see what is happening on the router level. No, we'll type enable configure terminal, then hostname, we'll type R2, then we'll go to interface fast Ethernet 0 by 0. We will type IP address 10.0.0.1. Subnet mask is 255.0.0.0. No shutdown to bring the port up. And you can see the port is turned to up. Then exit. Interface serial 0 by 0. And we have to type the IP address, which is 2.0.0.2 of this series, 255.255.255.252, and no shutdown command. The port turn to up and end. Now save the configuration. So we have configured the basic networking. Let's configure the IP address of this server. Okay, it's already been configured. So as of now, internal networking is possible. Let's test it quickly. You can see PC0 and PC1 in one network, they're pinging. PC2 and PC3 are also pinging, and the server can also reach to the router 0. The problem would occur when you try to ping PC0 to PC3, and you can see it's failing. The reason is there is no route to the destination. You can also check from the command prompt. So if I type ping and the IP address 10.0.0.10, it will say destination host unreachable, meaning the route is not established. So let's configure the route. I'll go to router 0, and we have one command to verify what are the directly connected networks. How we can do that? We'll press enter. If you are at this mode, which is the user execution mode, you should type enable again. Then you should type show IP root. So you can see it is showing directly connected network. How would I know whether it is directly connected network or not? So you have to focus on the letter C, and that is the directly connected network. So let's go to configure terminal mode, which is global configuration mode. We are going to type router OSPF, and the OSPF ID, it can be between 1 to 65,535. You can use any. I'm using OSPF 100. Right? Now we have to type the network. What are the directly connected network? Which is 1.0.0.0. What is the wildcard mask? So wildcard mask is basically calculated subtraction of the subnet mask out of 4 blocks of 255.255.255.255. So here the subnet mask is 255.255.255.252, and the 4 blocks of 255 we are going to subtract. So this is how it would look like. Now the result, whatever it comes, will become the wildcard. So that's a 0.0.0.3. This is the very basic understanding. There are in-depth discussion on this in upcoming videos. So we will discuss that. Network 1.0.0.0 to the wildcard is 0.0.0.3, and we have to specify area. I'm going to use area 10 here. So what are the area number you can specify? You can specify the area number as like this. By the way, we have to set the router ID first. So I'm going to set router ID, and the ID, which is IP address format like of notation 1.1.1.1. Then we will type network 1.1.0.0.0.0 to wildcard and area. Let's specify area 10. Fine. Now the next network. Okay, I made a small mistake. I'm going to say this would be the area 0. Okay, and the following network, which is 192.168.0.0, wildcard would be 0.0.0.255, and this would be in area 10. Done. End and write memory. Save. Configuration is saved. Now let's go to this one. I'm going to mark the all other networks, these two networks in area 0, and this one will be in a separate area. So let's do that one. So again, so IP root, this will show directly connected network. I'm going into global configuration mode, and we type configure terminal. Router OSPF ID, we can keep it same. Router OSPF ID 100. Then router ID, I'm choosing to the 2. Then the directly connected network. So network 1.0.0.0 wildcard 0.0.3 and area that will belong to area 0. Then we have network 2.0.0.0 to 0.0.0.3 is the wildcard, and then that also would belong to area 0. Then we have one more network which is 172.16.0.0 subnet mask subtracted from the 4 block of 255 will give you 0.0.255.255, and this one will belong to area 20. Okay, so we are done with the area configuration and OSPF configuration on router 0 and write memory. Okay, so next is the router 2. Let's go to router 2, and here we'll configure again. So IP root, we will go to global configuration mode, typing configure terminal command. Then we would say router OSPF 100. Then we will type network. What is the directly connected network? 10.0.0.0, and the wildcard would be 0.255.255.255. Area, I'm marking it to area 30. Then network 2.0.0.0, 0.0.0.3 is again the wildcard, and it will belong to area 0. Enter. We are done with the configuration and write memory. As the configuration is done, let's test the connectivity. I'll go to PC0 again, command prompt, and if you remember, I tried pinging before the root configuration to PC3, which failed. Now let's ping again, and let's see whether this time we are successful or not. So ping space the IP address of the destination system, and you can see we are getting the reply from the system. I can also use the dummy packets, the PDU. I will select the PDU, go to PC0, send it to server. You can see it's a successful. Select the packet from PC2 to server, successful. Let's quickly configure the server to give you web page. So web page HTTP and HTTPS is on. We can access the web page from PC3. We'll go to browser, web browser, and there we will type the IP address of this server with the HTTP or HTTPS protocol. So server IP is 172.16.0.200, and you can see we are able to see the web page, meaning the web service is also working. Now I want to share a couple of verification commands. So if you want to verify a few things, you should type show IP interface brief, which will show you the IP assignment. You can see the serial interface 0 by 0 is assigned with 1.0.0.1 IP. The assignment was manual, meaning administrator set the IP. Status is up, meaning the port is up, and protocol is up, meaning the other end is connected and that port is also up. Okay. Similarly, you can see the first Ethernet 0 by 0 is configured. 0 by 1 is not configured. Serial 0 by 1 is also not configured. This is the command to verify the IP address of the interfaces. Then you can type show IP root, and that will show you the routing table. You have to focus on the codes. You can see C for connected, O for OSPF, R for RIP. If it is BGP, there would be the BGP areas would be marked as B, and so on. So you can see that we have O, the network 2.0.0.0 is OSPF root. The 10.0.0.0 network is reachable through the OSPF route using serial interface. So exit interface is serial 00, and 172.16 network is also reachable using serial 0 by 0. Then you can say so IP protocols, which will show you which routing protocol is used. So routing protocol is OSPF 100 is the area, the process ID or OSPF ID. The number of paths, number of areas in this router is 2. What is the router ID set on this one is 1.1.1. Routing for which network is happening on these two routes, the routing is happening. Gateway, the distance, last update, and so many other information is available. Okay, so these are the configuration steps. I hope you have learned this one. I will attach this diagram in the comment section. You can download, you can practice, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, thank you.